Alright, it looks like community content at CIG is back, and Jared just had a pretty good Star Citizen Live with John Crew and other members of the ship creating team. So here we go, let's have a look here at what was said. And first, we are going to be talking about something that was discussed at the beginning of the show here, is that armor is going to be coming with Star Citizen 4.5. We were told that there's going to be quite a rebalance when it comes to laser weapons as well as Gatlings, and so we should be able to use the proper weapons depending on the kind of damage that we want to do, whether we want to be dealing damage against shields or dealing damage against armor. I suspect that gameplay is going to get a little bit closer to what we have, for example, in Elite Dangerous, so it should be very interesting to see the direction that CIG are going to be taking for Star Citizen. Also, next week, ISC will be about engineering and armor, so we should perhaps have more details about that. We also learned that a new Aurora is coming, the Aurora Mark II, which should be coming during the first half of 2026. It's also worth noting that CIG don't want to be removing older versions of ships, which is great. It's something that I've been advocating since the rework of the 300 series. I wish that we could have the old 300 series back. Personally, I prefer it over the one that we currently have. If CIG listen to the show here, that would be wonderful. Please do that. Maybe a different manufacturer, make it under Gray's market. Why not, right? But I really love the design of the original 300 ships. Next, we are going to be talking about the Hull series. And the Hull series, which can still land, with the Hull A and the Hull B are the two ships that can land in the series. The Hull B is going to get quite a buff here in terms of cargo, because it's now going to have 512 SCU, which is absolutely massive. I already thought that the Hull B would be one of the best cargo ships in the game, simply because you can just snap all the cargo boxes on the outside. It's going to be very easy to fill, but now there's going to be even more cargo, and that's going to be making it a better ship, and it should be coming in 2026 as well. If you are the owner of a Hull D or the Hull E, it seems that, however, the amount of cargo that you are going to be carrying with this ship is going to be significantly lowered, and that's because first, it's true, it's going to be very boring to manually load and unload everything. This is what John Crew said, but also it's going to break the game, it's going to break the economy, and it's also going to be breaking performance. It's just something that they hoped that we were able to do. Maybe at that time they thought that cargo would not be physicalized, and we still had the automatic system where cargo boxes were just magically appearing, but things have changed since then, and it's just no longer possible. So now the Hull D is going to get 6,912 SCU, and the Hull E about 12,000, which is still absolutely massive. However, these two ships are not coming in 2026. Speaking of cargo buff, well, it seems that the Ironclad has had quite a pretty big buff as well, moving from 1,536 SCU to 2,204 SCU, and also the Assault from 1,052 to 1,440 SCU. So that's really quite a big buff here. I've got an Assault. I'm very happy about that. Perhaps it means that these ships are going to be a little bit bigger than when they were concepted. Also, we are going to get a couple of new ground vehicles as well. There's going to be, for example, something called the Envil Auxilia, which is going to be a ground version of the Clipper. So it should have also a crafting workshop, just like the Clipper, and also a tier 2 medical bed, they said, or perhaps going to be tier 3. I don't know. Apparently, it's also going to be one of these vehicles from the Silhouettes last year. Another vehicle from the Silhouettes from last year is something that is called the Consolidated Outland Forge. Now, the name is not confirmed, of course, but apparently it's also going to be a crafting ship. Now, the reason why these two vehicles were not shown this year is because, well, crafting is taking a little longer than expected, so that's why they're just waiting for crafting to be out. CIG reminded us also during the show that they don't want to be releasing ships that don't have their gameplay available, so that's why it makes sense that these ships are not there. I think that the Consolidated Outland Forge is going to be a huge seller. It's going to be like a mini Pioneer, So it's definitely going to be cheaper. I would imagine something like that being in the range of the $300 to $400 range. And because, well, the Pioneer is a limited ship, it's very expensive. A lot of people who cannot afford to have a Pioneer or never get a chance to get the ticket to get the Pioneer are going to get the Forge, and I can imagine this one being a huge moneymaker. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Next, we are also going to be talking about night visibility, which has been a problem in Star Citizen for a while. Either the lights of the ships are too strong or too weak and we cannot see where we're going to be landing here, so they want to have something called it's called lamp, which of course is reminiscent of an old meme in Star Citizen, and they want to have something that's going to be able to amplify the light that's outside but from within the canopy, a little bit like, again, what's available in Elite Dangerous. I mean, if something works in another game, why not making it also happen in Star Citizen? I think that it makes sense. Also, we learned that the Karak is going to get its crafting station in its repair room, so that's great. I mean, the Karak was sold as being a ship that can also craft, so that's awesome. I have a Karak and I cannot wait to be trying this out. We also learned that we are going to have our last ship concept happening next year. CIG don't want to do ship concepts anymore. They want to be releasing ships straight to flyable, but there's going to be one exception. It's the Battle Cruiser, which is going to have its concept released at the Invictus Fleet Week. And if you remember, for those of you who have been since the beginning here, the Battle Cruiser was indeed part of the original crowdfunding campaign. It's one of the stretch goals on the website as well. And finally, we get to know what's happening here. Apparently, it's going to be a ship that's going to be even bigger than the Javelin, so it's not going to be for everybody to purchase, unfortunately, but eventually it's going to be earnable in game. This is something that CIG talked about during the show as well. They said that while not all ships are going to be available for credits, they are going to be available one way or another, just like, for example, the Polaris is available if you complete the Wikilo quest, right? So other ships like the Idris are also eventually going to be available, just like, for example, that Battle Cruiser, which is probably going to be available as well. We also learned that the following manufacturers are going to have ships released next year, including Drake, Aegis, RSI, Envil, Misk, Gray's Market, Origin, Gattac, it's going to be the Raylan in this case, Greycat, as well as Kruger, which is going to have a new ship, the Stingray, but no information was given about that, unfortunately. We also learned that the Galaxy is going to be the focus of next year's IAE. And that's pretty much it for this episode of Star Citizen Live. Quite a lot of information indeed, and it's just great to see that finally community content is back and that CIG are going to be communicating a little bit more about what they're doing. Anyway, that is all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching until the end. As always, a big shout out to my Patreon and YouTube members, including Dr. Frobinso, Cartassisius, The Key to the Kershaw, The Rise, and Zero Crusher. If you do want to help the channel, well, you have the link in the description down below. It's much appreciated. I'm giving away a ship to my Patreon and YouTube members, so it's also a chance to be on board for getting that chip. All right, it's time to wrap this up. I have been Irad. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.